or where she is in it and she gets down to counter it and she gets a follow-up, and after the follow-up she can still get into stance to then do a possible high unblockable, high fast unblockable or crazy mid launcher. Like this kind of sequences is what we're gonna see. And it scares me a lot because I'm afraid, and I think as well on development point of view, balancing a character that is not released yet is in a game this that deep and complex is basically impossible. Hello there, I'm Dejan and welcome to a new video. First of all, I just wanted to thank you once more for all the support I'm receiving these days. I'm almost reached 400 subscribers, my last video is doing great. I just wanted to thank you all, really. It's very nice to see your comments, it's very nice to see the channel growing, the community growing all together, and I can just be happy. So, thank you so much. So today, as you can imagine, and as you can see obviously from the title, we are gonna discuss Lidia. Obviously, there has been the TEKKEN talk, there has been the EGN preview. It was very weird to me because the EGN video review of Lidia basically was a 10 minutes video based off 1 hour time that the journalist that wrote the video had with Yasuda Esports, which is one of the people that always present the TEKKEN in the TEKKEN talks, and he's probably one of the executives of the TEKKEN project. They literally released that review, that 10 minutes review, the day before, I think, or yeah, I think it's around the day before, or day and a half before, the TEKKEN talk. And that 10 minutes allowed you to skip almost all the things that they discussed in the TEKKEN talk. Just a couple of things were missed from the EGN review. But I don't understand the point. I think this was actually kind of counterintuitive for them to do, and well, let's say I'm not their marketing manager anyway, so. But yeah, I just want to discuss with you 3 things that worries me about Lidia. As some of you may know, I did karate Shotokan, which is karate style that Lidia practice, and I did that for quite a while. For half of my life I practiced that diligently 3 times, 4 times a week. And I still, all the picture of the moves in my mind, the names, they start to fade away. But for me, Lidia is a great character to watch, and it's always a character I wanted to play because, obviously, of this sentimental attachment that I have with the martial arts and the move as well that there are in the game. As because my passion for Russian martial arts is basically always been parallel to my passion of fighting games. It's been always a word that fascinated me a lot, and that's why I always loved fighting games since I was a kid at the same time, and that's the reason as well that I did martial art for that long time. Today I just want to take a look a bit more on a gameplay perspective and tell you what do I think about what's shown in the EGN and in the TEKKEN talk, and what worries me about her gameplay. Because there is a lot of things that worry me, mainly 3 things of Lidia that worry me a lot. The first one is the first thing that they speak about, and is their approaching tool, which is 4-4-2, 4-4-1, which changed from being running 1, which in my opinion should have stayed running 1. So I think it's 13 frames, they're both 13 frames. 4-4-2 is a mid, +5 on block, +15 on hit. The transition into her horse stance, her Kibadachi Jujukai stance. And 4-4-1 is still I-13 +6 on block. Kind of running move. It looks like a running move, but it's a 4-4 move. It's a high. Basically, it's stackable, you can lunge. This is the same exact kind of approaching mix-up that you have with Victor, which is already a kind of thing that most of the people despise a lot. If this move is one of these moves have even just 1 degree angle of tracking, just 1 degree angle, that's gonna be a nightmare. That worries me a lot, and that my point of view and what I'm trying to do. Actually, I should specify this before I keep on with the video. My point of view is from the average gamer perspective, okay? Not from the pro player, not from the top 1% God of Destruction, Tekken God, not from their point of view. I'm trying to look at it as most of the people will look at this move. So this kind of setup is probably one of the most frustrating things, because yes, it's a 3D game, you need to learn to sidestep and everything. I absolutely agree with that, and the fact that I'm assuming they're both gonna be very vulnerable to sidestep should allow you to avoid them. This is just gonna make it for a massive, horrible fest of high mid, high mid, high mid. Like it's gonna be a nightmare. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, even for players that are a bit more skilled, you know, these kind of moves are very fast. It's 13 frames. Timing the sidestep with these kind of moves is crazy difficult, because they're very fast. It's not something you can do on reaction, especially because it's a forward. Here, my reason of forward 1 should be why running 1 still. You can have these properties, I don't mind, but it should be while running 1, so that you want to do it perfect input, you want to do it really 13 frames, you have to do the perfect input. You have to do the Shining Wizard triple tap 1. But putting it like this just gives access to everyone and takes away the execution for the move basically completely, and just gives her a clean mix-up on approach, which is probably is going to be, I'm sure, very frustrating. Another move that worries me a lot is down back 3. For what it looks like in her trailer, she doesn't have crazy tracking, actually quite the opposite. The only 2 tracking moves they showed is this down back 3, which is her old basically Hell's Whip on Clean It. And she has QCF 4, which is basically a classic Chuck Norris roundhouse kick. Like, these are the full homing moves they show on the trailer. This said, obviously you always need to see if there is any move like, I don't know, Fang Back 4, which is this mid weird just kick that he does like this with his leg basically. And that move, is not homing, but since Tekken 7 the move is basically fully tracking. I don't even know if Lily can sidestep that move, or Alisa. And that's the point. If there are moves like this, obviously, this might start to become a problem, because Lidia, and I can connect to what is the second point that scares me the most. Apart the crazy mix-ups that she can have, looks like she's gonna have crazy pressure, crazy stance pressure, which is something that Tekken 7 they were starting to push it on, and Tekken 8 they are just going crazy with. In Tekken 6 as well, we're starting to exploring a lot of stance pressure with Leo especially, and Lars. But in Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 especially, you have all these archetype of characters that is just basically stance pressuring you. And if you're a normal person that doesn't know all the move list of every character and all the frames, you know some basic rules of matchup. Obviously, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you know which moves are usually launch punishable and everything, but you don't know in every stance what can every character do in every single stance. Okay, because we're human, and you have characters with 4 stances, and you have characters with 4 different interaction in every stance. And she looks like can do some crazy stuff, like hitting you, going to stance, hitting you again, going to stance, hitting you again, or even on block if you're afraid to press, because that's the kind of situation you find yourself after they start to steamroll with the stances and with the pressure. If you're afraid to press, they're just gonna keep on stance pressuring you without stopping. And this is what scares me a lot as well, is having too much power in those stances and feel almost choked against this character. At the beginning, he's obviously gonna be like this, and it's because we are not gonna have any knowledge of the character. And that's normal. Is what happened with Tekken Master in Evo Japan. The game was way more aggressive, there were way less defensive tools, but he's a heavy 50-50, very strong player, but he based his gameplay basically on heavy 50-50. And in Evo Japan, because people wasn't ready to react to heavy, he just made it. I think he made it to top 8. You didn't see him in the finals because Evo finals were top 6s, but I think he made it to top 8. I'm pretty sure. And I'm afraid this might happen again, and I'm afraid with Lidia might be even worse, because she looks super solid. She looks super solid. There is a very if you watch the video, there is a very scary transition when she does stands into Power Crush, and she crushes another Power Crush, with a breaking glass sound effect. Okay, so she does stance. The opponent does Power Crush. She Power Crushes, so she takes the Power Crush and hits her back. And that Power Crush doesn't knock down, gives crazy plus frames, and she goes again into stance. Or where she is in it and she gets down to counter it, and she gets a follow-up, and after the follow-up she can still get into stance to then do a possible high unblockable, high fast unblockable, or crazy mid launcher. Like these kind of sequences is what we're gonna see. And it scares me a lot because I'm afraid, and I think as well, on development point of view, balancing a character that is not released yet is, in a game this that deep and complex, is basically impossible. So she's gonna be, and I said this in my review, in my reaction video of the trailer, she is gonna be busted as hell. I have this feeling. It always happens, mostly with TEKKEN characters DLC. And she's gonna get nerfed eventually if she is busted. But that is one thing that worries me a lot. And that's the second thing basically. First thing is her crazy mix-ups. The second thing, her crazy pressure. And the third thing is her Heaven and Hearth stance. So Heaven and Hearth is a great looking, perfectly identity-fitting mechanic that Lidia has. It's a stance that she can access only when she is in hit. You use some hit gauge and you go in Heaven and Hearth. What you get access to? A crazy mid and a 15, 16, something like that frames high, unblockable. And on top of that, Heaven and Hearth is a parry. I don't know which kind of parry, if it's a super parry like Leroy's or just an average parry like, I don't know, Brian's. I'm expecting it to be a super parry because it's fair to have it as super parry. It consumes a lot of your hit, and is a hit move, and is when your character needs to be buffed to be strong. So it's fair that the character would have a super parry in that situation. What worries me specific on the Heaven and Hearth is not that much the stance, because the stance is gonna be busted, but it drains a lot of hit. It is not spammable basically. Like the amount of hits that it drains is almost all of it. If you do hit burst, so you don't get your full hit bar, and you do forward 2 into horse stance into Heaven and Hearth, when you get to Heaven and Hearth, you get a parry if someone attacks you. But if no one attacks you, you basically go into Heaven and Hearth and you basically drain completely your hit. Completely, it's gone. Yeah, it's. I think it's fair that the stance is completely strong. It's very strong. But at the same time, this stance gives you one more thing. It gives you one charge on your install. Lidia's install is similar to Eddie's one, but instead of draining every round, it stays until the end of the match. So you activate it, you get your installs, your character is powered up. Fair. It has 3 levels, and to get any level, as I said, you need Heaven and Hearth. Now, what happens when you get the installs? Mainly is 2 things. One, which I think is great, and I think is my opinion, but still, this is just my opinion before I even play the character, so take it with a pinch of salt. So, one of the things that install does is lower the consumption of heat while you use heat-powered moves. So, as I said, you are in it and you use Heaven and Hearth, it takes off all your heat, basically. If you have a level 1 of her install, it just drains 90% of your heat. I'm saying random percentages. If you have a level 2, maybe it's gonna be 80%, and if you have a level 3, it's gonna be 70. So you can go Heaven and Hearth 3 times in a row. Which in my opinion, this is fine, because I think it makes it cool, it gets her stronger, it gives her a lot of comeback potential. But it is as well a very dodgy mechanic, because you are powering up a character for the rest of the match. And it's very easy to make, like, Tekken characters are very well balanced, usually. They're very close to each other, with a couple of exceptions, but still being anyway very close. But if you give this kind of power to a character, this is something that has never been done in Tekken, and is potentially very dangerous. Another thing that Restore does is increasing damage of specific moves. And here is where I honestly start to disagree with it. because Tekken damage is already crazy. It's very easy to get combo to 45% if you have zero execution. You do the basic combos that the game tells you on the practice mode. It's very easy to get that 45% in Tekken. It's nothing. Getting the 50 usually doesn't take that much unless you're playing some super crazy art character in execution like Kazuya. Then you have Lidia, which they show it in a trailer. She does, I think it's a 64 damage combo with no power up on her install. Then with a level 3 they try it again and the same combo does 75. That's 11 damage more, which in a game like this is insane. Especially because those combos are not the optimized one, okay? And optimized combos is something that everyone can get access to. Not super optimized combo video stuff, but like solid combos, okay? Everyone can get access to. Like, you probably noticed that. If you're watching this video, it's because you play a lot of Tekken, so you notice that your combos there don't do way less damage than pro player combos. No, because Tekken combos are not hard, generally. Tekken combos are okay. It's not King of Fighters, it's not nothing like that games. Okay? Tekken combos are very natural, they come together, they work together. It's very nice to play with Tekken combos, but they're very natural, they usually come together. If you give this much power up to damage, it might easily end up, and this is what I'm sure I'm gonna see a lot. It's gonna end up to have a character that basically is gonna throw away the first round, but by round 2, he's probably gonna have level 3 of Heaven and Earth on round 2. And by round 2, she's gonna have something that looks like 10% more damage on specific combos. That they're gonna get optimized and it might get even more. And honestly, I really don't see these working that much. I think this might be potentially broken, but at the same time, all of this is just assumption. We haven't played the character is not out, we cannot know for certain, but we have our previous experience with the characters, with other characters, with DLCs, and we have seen as well a long demonstration of what Lidia can do with frame data and everything. So it's not completely implausible. Start to get some ideas of what the character could do. And I really think that air install is gonna be a problem. Because it's a very simple instance. You start your match, you get into an hit engager, which she has in a 12 frame while standing punish, by the way, or air political storm, or I think back 2 as well. Like she has great ways to get in it anyway. And you get in it. And first thing you do, you are plus on it. If you get into it with an hit engager, first thing you do, pump, go into Heaven and Earth. You finish your hit, yes, you use it all, but you got your first install, is round 1. Then your character is still solid, you can still play, and you can still maybe win the round. If you lose the round, that's okay, because in the second round you're gonna get into hit, and because you have the second level of the installs, you can try to use Heaven and Earth, I'm gonna struggle so much to say that, twice, which is gonna bring you already to the max level. And then you're set. That's why I think giving that as well, the power up damage is a bit too much. But hey, we'll see in a couple of weeks. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribe. Still, target is 1,000. It starts to be on the horizon. It's still not close enough. Anyway, I've been the Jam. You've been awesome as always. And I'll see you next time. Ciao!